Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday. Greetings, salutations. Thanks for being here. We're hanging out for the next 3 hours on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC radio app, and on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. However, wherever, whenever you are joining the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. I'm with you for the duration. Spencer Dupuis will be in the 4 o'clock hour as per normal. We got a great show for you today. Just the 3 hours of sports talk today. No Royals baseball. The Royals making the grueling road trip from Los Angeles to Anaheim, where they will resume play tomorrow night, opening up a best of, or not a best of three, but a 3-game series. And they're all best of threes when you think about it. You win a series or you lose a series. Or sometimes you get swept, like the Royals did against the Dodgers. But they will resume tomorrow night with some more late night, after dark baseball on the West Coast. First of 3 against the Los Angeles Angels. So no baseball tonight, but plenty to talk about in these 3 hours of 580 Sports Talk. A lot of Chiefs. The big note from today was maybe the most expected note from today in St. Joe. Patrick Mahomes will not play in the preseason opener against the Los Angeles Rams on Saturday. And no, this is not representative of a setback or anything other than the abundance of caution that I think everybody is kind of hoping to see the Chiefs exhibit with their franchise quarterback coming off of that torn ACL he suffered just 8 months ago. Again, guys, 8 months ago he got hurt. And here we are, and we're talking about him not really even needing to test it out in the preseason. He'll be fine for opening night against the Broncos September 14th. Almost about a month away now. 33 days to be precise. We'll continue our Chiefs countdown to kickoff on today's program as well. We'll talk about that expected news and what it means. Justin Fields, Garrett Nussmeier, Chris Oladokun are going to dress, and I would expect that the Chiefs will play all 3 of them. What are we looking for from those guys? Because it feels good to assume that Mahomes is going to be fine and dandy and play 17 games and not have any complications from the knee injury that he suffered last December. And that may well end up being what happens. But this is probably the year of all of them in recent memory with Mahomes as the starting quarterback where it is most important to have somebody you can go to in reserve if necessary. And so we'll get a look at those guys, for better or for worse, starting on Saturday afternoon in the preseason opener. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff at Arrowhead Stadium, Chiefs and Rams. You'll hear it right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9 with pregame coverage on the Chiefs Radio Network starting at 2 o'clock. We'll get some audio from Chiefs camp today. Andy Reid didn't speak long, but he did speak. We'll hear from Big Red. Also, Chris Jones took to the podium today as well. I think it's the first time we've heard from Stone Cold during the training camp. We'll bat this question around a little bit when Spencer joins the show. I was reading over at The Ringer today a column where the conceit was the main characters of the NFL's preseason. The main characters. And that got me thinking, who's the main character of the Chiefs preseason? And I think there's a lot of different ways you can possibly answer that question. It might be the player you personally are most interested to see. It might be the player with the most to gain, maybe the most to lose, the most to prove. Who's the main character of this Chiefs preseason? I'm actually curious as to your responses. We'll call that the question of the day, and you can text your answers to 785-272-9429 and drop them in the text line or drop them in the YouTube comments as well, 580 Sports Talk. Who's the main character of this Chiefs preseason? We'll get into that later on. And at 525 today, installment number 9 of our training camp reports with Mitch Holthus. We'll talk to the voice of the Chiefs, courtesy of Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. Today's focus on a position group that lost a lot but could get better in 2026. That's what Mitch believes, and he'll spotlight today one young player that gives him a lot of optimism about that. We won't spoil it just yet for you. Hang out with us until 525, and we'll talk all about the player in question with our training camp report with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. Also joining us on the program today, Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. He'll check in with us at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour for the local sports spotlight. We are closer and closer to the start of high school and college athletic seasons. In fact, we're already there. KU played a women's soccer game last night. So the college sports season, such as it is underway in the state of Kansas. So we're getting closer to Washburn athletics. We're getting closer to high school sports in Shawnee County, and nobody covers those beats better than Pistol. You know that. He'll join us at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour for this week's local sports spotlight. So those are our guests today. We'll also find a little time to talk about the Royals. They lost again last night, 4-2. Dodgers hit 3 home runs, and the Royals didn't hit any, and that was pretty well the difference. Another short outing for Daniel Lynch, short by design, but maybe they would have liked to have seen him go a little longer, but he gave up a very long and loud home run to Shohei Ohtani in the second inning, and that was that. There are 40 games left in the Royals season. Nice round number. It's always nice when you get a checkpoint. It's a round number. 40 games left in the Royals season. For some of you, that's 40 too many. Maybe for some of the Royals, they're already counting the days to Cancun. But there's a lot to prove in these final 40 games for a whole bunch of guys. We've talked about the teams need to reinvest and improve in some certain places. The bullpen is one of those spots where there are, for me, 6 spots up for grabs next year. There are only 2 guys I'd write in pen, and God knows, with pitching, good luck predicting what's going to happen from one day to the next. But there are only 2 guys right now I would say, yeah, I want to see that guy for sure in next year's bullpen. So a lot to prove. But some of those solutions are going to have to be internal, because the Royals also need to go spend on starting pitching, which is typically more expensive. They're going to spend on the bullpen. They're going to have to. They don't have any lefties. They don't. They call up Luke Little, but they don't have any left-handers. They're out of lefties. So they're going to need to at least go sign a left-handed reliever. But what is that mix going to look like? Who's got a lot to prove and could maybe earn themselves a little bit of faith and maybe even a roster spot going into 2027 and make it so that the Royals have less that they have to divert to the bullpen and more resources they can use to fortify more important and less prone to random sample noise parts of their roster, like starting pitching or the lineup. We'll get there a little bit later on. Plus, all of our typical Thursday shenanigans on the show, either or, over, under. Another round of What Is Wrong With You, and our 580 Sports Talk headlines as well. Plus, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, do you think you could do a better job than J.J. Piccolo? Because if you do, you are not alone. You, in fact, have a lot of company among Royals fans. But a recent survey suggests you might be wrong. And we'll tell you what survey I'm talking about coming up a little bit. We are, as always, inviting you and encouraging you to be a part of the show today. Text the program, 785-272-9429, or comment in the live chat on our YouTube stream. We are live on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. We picked up 2 subscribers during yesterday's show. I bet we could do that again. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Go subscribe to the channel. We got some fun stuff coming up when the fall sports seasons for high school and college really hit the road, and when the Chiefs start playing, instant reaction videos, things like that. We're really looking forward to that portion of what we do here with our 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. So now's a great time to get in on the ground floor and subscribe. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Hello to our live chatters early today. See Mark H. in the chat today. Hello, Mark. Andrew and Paul also in. Look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along. Welcome to everybody on the text line. Heard from Gigi again after the Royals lost, which is becoming something of a theme this summer. Celebrating a Dodger sweep of the Royals, though, I have to tell you. Celebrating a Dodger sweep of the Royals, kind of like celebrating when Apple's stock price goes up. Like, yeah, of course it did. Who's rooting for that? Who enjoyed that other than everybody who works for Apple? That's what the Dodgers are. They're Apple. Well, that might be a bad example. I don't know if Apple's owners are being investigated by the SEC right now, because the Dodgers owner is, because he just had to sell the Lakers. All I'm saying is, for all of this, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Yeah, what if it was all a fraud? What if their front office was built on a house of lies? Just saying, don't think this is going to be like this forever. It's annoying right now, but it ain't going to be this forever. But appreciate the text as always. Gigi and everybody who texts the show, 785-272-9429. Let's talk some Chiefs. Obviously, the big news today, no Mahomes on Saturday. Andy Reid confirmed that. We'll hear from Andy Reid a little bit later on in the program today. Also, an important development today. It was not a padded practice. It was another one of those 10-10-10 practices that Andy Reid likes to run. 10 scripted offensive plays. Defense basically just out there being scout. 10 scripted defensive plays where the offense just runs scout stuff. And then 10 minutes on special teams. So it was a 10-10-10, no pads today, but still notable that one Mansoor Delane was out there in a white jersey and not in a yellow jersey. That was very encouraging, with all of the hand-wringing about how long Delane had spent in the yellow non-contact jersey, even going all the way back to mandatory minicamp. It's good to see the 6th overall pick has been fully cleared to participate in all drills. And if you saw some of the film from practice, he was doing about as much you can possibly do without being allowed to have contact, without having the non-contact jersey removed. He was doing as much as you possibly could. So hopefully that's a good sign for his game playing. That's a clumsy way to phrase it, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't know that he's going to play Saturday, but I do think for rookies, there's some benefit from some game action in the preseason, and that hopefully this is means to see some of that for Delane, if not this Saturday against the Rams, then maybe in the final 2 preseason games of the year. So that was a very encouraging development today. It was interesting to watch the defensive backs today because Shamari Connor didn't go. Connor, we haven't talked about him much. He's had a really good camp. By all accounts, he is taking to that box safety. I don't necessarily know how you would phrase it in Steve Spagnuolo's playbook, but you have typically the deep or the free safety, and then the strong or the box safety is kind of how they've been known for years, just kind of catch-all phrases for the safety duo. And Alohi Gilman for the Chiefs is the high safety, the free safety, the deep, the center fielder, whatever you want to call him. And Shamari Connor, instead of playing in the slot a bunch and then rotating out to safety, sounds like he's just going to stick at safety. And he's had a really good camp. And his best football has typically come from that position. So I'm enthusiastic about him, but he banged knees with somebody yesterday and didn't practice today. He went through drills. He didn't sit out. He wasn't like out of uniform in street clothes or anything. He went through some drills on the side, but they didn't want to risk it today. You never want to risk it. It's August 13th. So with Connor not out there, I thought it was interesting to see that Chris Roland Wallace played safety in the Chiefs' base 4-3 package when they were in drills, when they were in 10-10-10. Chris Roland Wallace rotated back to safety. He's been playing the slot corner and looks like right now he's first in line on the depth chart to play the slot. But he's got a lot of versatility. And I like Roland Wallace. I've said it before, over the last couple of years. Good things seem to happen around him. The ball seems to find him and good things seem to happen. He's been a turnover generator in ways that other members of that Chiefs secondary have not been over the last couple of years. So I think him getting on the field is a good thing. I thought it was interesting that now he's sort of in the hybrid role, the jack of all trades safety / slot role that Shamari Connor had filled for the Chiefs last season. And also interesting to note that in that base 4-3, it was Chris Roland Wallace and not Jaden Hicks. Now, when they went to a nickel look, which we call 4-3 a base look anymore, the nickel is the base look, right? I hope I'm not going, I don't really feel like this is football, like honors level football conversation to say the nickel is the base. 5 defensive backs is the more common alignment for most NFL defenses in modern football. And when the Chiefs did roll out their base nickel 5 defensive back package, Roland Wallace would play some slot. Jaden Hicks got in at safety. Jaden Kennedy also rolled in with the ones in the slot as well. So those look like the players who are going to kind of rotate into that 5th defensive back spot, which is important because, again, you spend more snaps in nickel than you spend in 4-3 typically. So that 5th defensive back role is really important, and the Chiefs have some competition there. Also thought this was an interesting note today when they worked on special teams. There were only 2 players who were in line at kick return and punt return. So to return both. I'm not saying like on the unit. I'm saying as a returner, there were only 2 players who were both kick returners and punt returners today. One of them was Jacob DeJesus, who had a nice college career. Finished up at Cal last year. I think he was first team all ACC. Practice squad guy. The other was Nico Remigio. The other was not Brashard Smith, who was in there at punt return, but not kick return. I continue to be a little puzzled. What exactly do the Chiefs think of Brashard Smith? Like, I want the truth serum answer on what they think of him. Because on the one hand, Jesse Nohl told us earlier this week, hey, he's getting a lot of reps with the ones, goal line situations, red zone situations, plays where you have to stretch the field horizontally because there's shrinking room in which to stretch it vertically. And a running back who's a good pass catcher can help you stretch the field horizontally a little bit. Brashard Smith getting some reps in that role would make some sense. But the flip side of that is he's 4th on the first depth chart. And again, the first depth chart of the year, like, it's fun to look at. It will raise an eyebrow here and there. But at the end of the day, that first depth chart of camp before the first preseason game, that and like $1.50 will get you a copy of a Sunday newspaper. It's not really worth that much. But he was 4th on the depth chart at running back, was Brashard Smith. And he was 2nd at both kick return and punt return. And then today, they didn't even drill him at kick return. They drilled Cyrus Allen and Emmett Johnson and Jaden Ott, the former Oklahoma/Cal running back, but didn't drill Brashard Smith. So what do they really think of him? Do they like him? Is he, because there are days, you read something about him and you think about like the skill set that he offers and the ability on special teams. And I'll sit here today and tell you, based on what I saw last year, it was a small sample size from Brashard Smith. But based on that small sample size, I think he's better at returning punts, certainly, than Remigio is. And I worry less about Smith fumbling than I worry about Remigio, because Remigio's sample isn't all that big, and I can remember him fumbling. But there are times when you feel like, oh, yeah, Brashard Smith, he's a slam dunk. They like him. They want to get him involved. And then there are other times you feel like, well, if they really want to get him involved, it just didn't take last year. And then they drafted another running back and signed 2 of them. And they gave Remigio money. Like, Remigio's on a 1-year, not like a camp invite, not a futures deal. It chump change in the context of the NFL salary cap, but it's not just straight up the vet min either for Remigio. And if they value him as their return man, if he's their first choice, do you have room on your roster for a 4th running back and your 2nd string kick returner? And the answer to that might be no. The answer to that might depend on whether or not the Chiefs are going to keep 3 quarterbacks. And I thought Spencer made a good point when we were talking about this yesterday, about the composition of the 53-man roster. Garrett Nussmeier can force Kansas City's hand with a good preseason. He's a 7th-round pick, went into his last season at LSU as maybe a dark horse Heisman contender, maybe a guy who had a chance to go, if not in the first round, certainly a day 2 pick. And he ended up getting hurt. He had a back injury and last all the way to the 7th round where the Chiefs picked him up. And the Chiefs haven't really developed their own backup quarterback for some years. And the last time that they tried to develop one and keep him around as their 3rd quarterback, eventually he showed enough in the preseason that other teams thought that he was worth a roster spot. And that's how the Chiefs lost Shane Buechele. And again, that's not like, oh no, the world is ending because Shane Buechele's not on the team anymore. But it goes to show that if you want to keep your 3rd quarterback, you got to roster them. If they're good, or if they show anything, if there's like a whiff of potential for that player, you got to keep him on the 53. Well, is there a whiff of potential for Garrett Nussmeier, or is his body too beaten up, or was he just maybe never that good in the first place? Was he maybe just a little bit overhyped at an SEC school? His game action is going to be interesting on Saturday. And I think Justin Fields' game action is going to be interesting too, because there will continue to be this idea until Justin Fields is no longer playing professional football, that the athletic tools are so overwhelming. If he can just get right, if he can just get the right coaching or be placed in the right situation, then he could thrive. And we've seen Justin Fields in a lot of different situations now in his NFL career, and he has not thrived. It has not happened. This is his 4th stop. And like, the Chiefs aren't going to open up the playbook for a bunch of razzle-dazzle with Justin Fields. It's preseason. They're not going to put anything on tape. They don't want the Rams to have some advanced practice against for when they play the week after Thanksgiving. So what does it look like for Justin Fields? Just kind of running vanilla offense. Just, 3-step drop, get to the peak of your drop, get the ball out. That kind of stuff. Like, do the Chiefs run him? They run like some read option type stuff? Like, is he out there to be the backup, or is he out there in part to maybe be a change of pace? If the Chiefs need a jolt in the ground game, or if they need a short yardage option. That's one possibility that we really haven't explored a ton of, but famously, the Chiefs have not run Patrick Mahomes on a quarterback sneak since he dislocated his knee in Denver back in 2019. Justin Fields, big dude. You run a sneak with him. You run a lot of things with him, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. He's a big guy. So I'll be a little bit interested to see if he's out there and he's like playing quarterback or if he is just being an athlete out there kind of running around a little bit, because maybe that'll be good enough. Maybe that'll be sufficient for what the Chiefs need if Patrick Mahomes makes all 17 starts, no issues. Your thoughts are welcome. 785-272-9429. Also in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Who's the main character of the Chiefs preseason? That's an open-ended question. A lot of different ways you can answer it. I'm curious how you would answer it. We'll answer it later on in the show. We've got our local sports spotlight coming with Rick Peterson coming up in about 10 minutes. Mitch Holthus joins us, voice of the Chiefs, at 5:25. We got a great big show for you on this Thursday. Glad you're along here on 580 Sports Talk. .332 on 580 Sports Talk. Just getting things rolling on this Thursday. Let's go to the text line first for some reaction to that opening segment from the 316 regarding Brashard Smith. Now that the Chiefs have a big-name running back, they'll hopefully probably start to use Brashard Smith in ways we wanted to see last year. That's just it. Like, on the one hand, he was just a rookie, and a seventh-round rookie at that. And a lot of times, more often than not, those players are brought along pretty slowly. But, man, that running back situation was dying for some energy, some juice, some pop, whatever you want to call it. And it was obvious Pacheco couldn't give it to him, and it was obvious that Kareem Hunt wasn't going to give you more than 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And even with all that, they couldn't get Brashard Smith going. When he did get more opportunities late in the season, when the season was gone, he didn't do a ton with them. Just wasn't a lot of highlight reel stuff from Brashard Smith. So I'm a bit more of a skeptic. Like, I liked the thought of, okay, you bring in a guy with some real speed, hadn't played a ton of running back. His background is mostly wide receiver, but Chiefs offense has been great at blending guys with that skill set, and as a change of pace, like, your expectations have to be calibrated accordingly, right? Like, not every seventh-round pick ends up even being like an Isaiah Pacheco where they give you starting-level production for a couple of years. So even with, like, what I feel like are reasonable expectations for a seventh-rounder, Brashard Smith didn't get there last year, and I'm skeptical. I'm going to have to see it. I'm going to have to see it in the preseason. We'll see how much he plays. We'll see how much he gets in with, well, what are going to be functionally the ones on Saturday. Because if Mahomes isn't playing, like I said, there's no reason anybody else with, like, tenure for the Chiefs, and you can interpret that however you want. None of those guys should be playing either if Mahomes isn't. Some thoughts from the live chat on YouTube. Paul weighs in. Fields better look at least serviceable. To me, he's the most questionable backup of the Mahomes era. If he had to play significant snaps for any reason, can the offense find success? That's the big question, right? And the Chiefs, when they signed Fields, right, didn't know anything about what Mahomes' status for 2026 was going to be. They were more in hope than in expectation that he could make it to week 1. So they wouldn't have gone out and gotten Justin Fields if they didn't think that they could make something work with him. But I do agree that, like, do I trust him more than I trust Gardner Minshew or Carson? Maybe more than I trusted Wentz. Even though Wentz had a better track record, by the time Wentz came around to Kansas City, he was pretty well cooked. But, like, do I trust him more than I trusted, like, Blaine Gabbert or Chad Henne or any of those other backups? No. Not even close. I trust him as an athlete. I think he can make football plays. I think if you need him to lead, like, a 12-play drive and you know, hit the out on 3rd and 4 to keep the sticks moving or, you know, extend a play, hit a second read, hit a third read, take care of the football, do all that stuff. If he could do that stuff, he wouldn't be backing somebody up because he's a first-round pick. It wouldn't have been 3 teams give up on him. The Steelers won games with him starting, and Mike Tomlin still took a look at that and said, yeah, I can't do this for a whole lot longer. I need Russell Wilson back in there. I need cooked Russell Wilson back in there. So I think there's some room for, like, Fields as a change of pace, a snap here, a snap there. Maybe he's your quarterback sneak guy. But if he's going to be anything more than that, I mean, I guess the second best time is now, but the best time for him to have done that would have been 3 teams ago. I just don't think he is that kind of a quarterback. Good football player, not a great quarterback. So how do the Chiefs make an offense work with a guy who's a good football player taking the snaps, but maybe not a great quarterback? Lenny is in the chat today. Always good to see Lenny. He believes the Chiefs should keep 3 quarterbacks. I think that's a really interesting thought, even if it would cost them a roster spot for Brashard Smith or for Nico Remigio. I do think there's value in having an in-house backup quarterback that you develop, that learns your offense, that works alongside Mahomes, and is there over some years rather than playing backup quarterback roulette. And Nussmeier is the best chance the Chiefs have had to have a guy like that. My only concern is, got a bad back, and he wasn't good last year when he played. And he hasn't exactly lit camp on fire. I have a feeling we're going to be able to tell, though, pretty quick, like, if Nussmeier is a guy worth keeping around even as QB3. I think we might have an answer to that by the end of Saturday. We're going to take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we return, it's the local sports spotlight with the incomparable Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. That's coming up here on 580 WIBW. And I'm back with Ryan Christopher, the owner of the new Smoothie King location, coming to Topeka, 2121 South Wanamaker Road, Suite 107, with the grand opening celebration coming Saturday, August 22nd. And Ryan, Smoothie King is all about helping people reach their goals, their athletic goals, their fitness goals. How does the menu at Smoothie King assist with that?
Yeah, so our smoothie menu fits a ton of macro or dietary needs that people have, even to the point where we can remove dairy if someone's got a lactose intolerance, right? Or if they can't have peanut. We can remove that from smoothies. So, we can really customize a lot of the smoothies to meet macros. And so we've got great protein-based smoothies that are out there. We've got your sweet treats. We have ones that are vegan-based. We have a vegan mango kale, which is actually really, really delicious for those who just are on a vegan lifestyle. And so our whole menu is really designed to fit each individual person's needs that they have to reach their health and wellness goals.
You're getting close to opening. We're in the middle of August. We're in the dog days of summer. It is hot out there. What are some of the best smoothies that are not only good health choices, but also going to help people beat the heat a little bit?
Yeah, so hydration is very important, right? And so we actually have one called an Activator Watermelon, and it's incredible. Our Activator line is actually quite delicious because we've got coconut water and electrolyte blends in there, and those are really, really important, right, to be able to stay hydrated. And so there are smoothie options that you can consume to stay hydrated, and that's really, really important during the summer months.
That's Ryan Christopher from Smoothie King. Again, the grand opening Saturday, August 22nd, where 10 lucky visitors are going to have a chance to win free smoothies for a year. You won't want to miss it. Smoothie King coming to the capital city. We got more 580 Sports Talk coming up after this. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline by Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for this week's local sports spotlight. Pistol covers all things Shawnee County High School sports and the Washburn Ichabods for TopSports.news, along with his outstanding staff. And Pistol, don't look now, but with the exhibition match against Baker for Washburn women's soccer on August 16th, ready or not, that's the kind of unofficial start of the fall sports season around these parts.
Yeah, and you know that's on a Sunday, and the very next day we start high school practice for all fall sports. So yeah, and there's no waiting in. I mean, it's as soon as it gets to the 17th, you're going, and there'll be games before you know it. Some of the sports start earlier than others, and yeah, and next time we'll be not having something about June 1st.
Yeah, that's exactly right. 2 exhibitions for women's soccer next week for Washburn, and then the week after that, their season opener is the 27th. So 2 weeks from today, they take on the 19th ranked team in the country, Maryville University at Yager Stadium. Washburn, of course, preseason number 4 in the country there. Volleyball also opens on the 27th. You've got some Washburn volleyball-related articles up over at TopSports.news. The Ichabods, of course, have been one of the standard-bearing programs in the MIAA. They've made deep postseason runs, been nationally ranked. They lost a lot from last year's team, including their best player, the MIAA Player of the Year, Austin Brody. But it sounds like from everything that you have reported, everything that Chris Herron and that team has told you, they don't expect to miss too much of a beat. They expect to be right in the thick of it in the MIAA again this year. You know,
and you and I know this. The good programs, the standard bearer programs, it's business as usual no matter how much they lost. And, you know, Washburn Volleyball got a first-team all-conference player from Central Missouri. They got a veteran player from Drury. They got some girls back that were all-conference type players. And Coach Herron just always expects them to be in that same position, which is challenging for conference and conference titles and NCAA berths.
Where does Chris Herron feel like the strength of his team is this year?
Depth. I think he feels like they have a lot of experience and a lot of depth and a lot of girls he can put in there that will get the job done. And he likes his team, and you know, obviously they have their first. They open with the Washburn Invitational with 4 matches at home, and I think he'll know a lot more after that. But, yeah, he was really upbeat when I talked to him the other day.
Rick Peterson of TopSports.news is our guest, joining us for the local sports spotlight. We do it every Thursday at this time here on 580 Sports Talk. We've also got some good features up on Washburn football players from the capital city, including one name that made me do a double take when I saw it on the initial fall roster. Finn Dunshee had a really terrific athletic career at Hayden, both in football and in track. Decided to pursue track in college. Realized he kind of missed the gridiron, which is funny because if I recall correctly, Pistol, he didn't play football early in his high school career because he was a rugby player. Do I have that memory right?
He played football his freshman year at Hayden. Sophomore year, he left and played rugby. And then he came back for his junior and senior year. And so, Finn's one of those kids, he likes to try out every sport.
Sure.
So he goes track, and now he's back in football. And, that's the main reason that and our good friend Brendan Rosinski, he deserves the credit for this because he's the one that alerted me that Finn was back playing football, and that's a reason I wanted to do that story because I don't think a lot of people knew that he was back at Washburn and back playing sports, playing football.
Yeah, that, like I said, made me do a double take when I saw the roster, but that will certainly be a name familiar to local fans who remember Dunshee's role on the 3A runners-up at Hayden back in 2023. He was a Shrine Bowl participant in 2024. Good football player, as you can probably guess by the fact that he was pursuing track as well and pursued track at the Division I level at TCU. There's real speed there. How do you think Washburn can use some of that speed and integrate that into an offense that could maybe use a jolt of some speed in some places?
Well, coaches love speed, no matter what the sport. But, I think I asked him, and I think he may they may use him as a returner, and he's lining up as a wide receiver. The thing about Finn is he's going to have to knock off the rust because it's been 2 full years since he played football. And then he also, and he was very honest about this, it's going to take him a while to get used to the playbook at the college level because they're just so complex and intricate. But, there's no doubt he has a lot of talent.
Talking to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. This is the local sports spotlight. We do it every Thursday at this time with Pistol joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. Getting ready for the high school season, the fall sports season. There's, of course, a new fall sport this year across the state. Girls flag football is a sanctioned CASA sport for the first time. Now, in the trial periods, there were not any teams, I believe, from the Topeka area that participated in the 2-year trial run of the sport. What can you tell us about area teams, Topeka, Shawnee County, or even close, that are going to give it a go here in year one? And maybe if you know if there are some schools who are saying, yeah, we want to see how this works before we jump in with both feet.
Yeah, I can't tell you much, Dan. And the thing is, I really haven't heard much about the local schools trying it this year. So I'm getting a feeling that maybe it's exactly what you said, that they're waiting to see how it works and then jump in. But I have not heard anything. I've sent out a bunch of stuff to ADs and coaches, and I haven't heard of anybody that's going to go full board with that this fall. Obviously, that could still change. Practice hasn't even started yet. But if I was an AD and if I was a school, I think I would maybe let others try it out and then see how it looks, and then go in like year 2 or year 3. But we'll see.
It seems like there's a lot of buy-in in the Kansas City metro area, in the Wichita areas. You'd expect the higher population centers to have more schools involved. So is it maybe an example of I don't know if there's a athletic director phone tree in the area or anything like that, but maybe it has to be a bit collaborative where schools are like, hey, we'll do it if you do it. Well, we'll do it if they do it, and have some competition to play, less travel concerns if there are more schools in a vicinity that are playing it. Because it would be hard, I would imagine, to just be the one team in the area that's then having to go to Wichita or having to go to Kansas City to play all the games.
Yeah, and I know that the Centennial League jumping on it real quick. So there you already got 3 city teams as well as like Manhattan and Junction and Emporia. But hey. I was a little hesitant only because there's already some girls' sports that their numbers are down. They're fighting numbers. And then you throw in another sport. So I'm like everybody else, I'm just curious to see how it all works out.
Rick Peterson covers Shawnee County High School sports and the Washburn Ichabods at TopSports.news. It should be an indispensable part of your media diet if you care about local sports. And the closer we get to really starting this thing, the more you're going to want to be checking it out every single day. You can also follow Pistol over on X, Peterson_Rick. And you can catch him every Thursday right here on the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. Pistol, it's always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
I look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We'll take a quick time out, come back, put a wrap on this first hour of 580 Sports Talk right after this. .353 on 580 Sports Talk. Coming down the home stretch of this first hour of 3 that we get to spend with you today. Appreciate you being here. Thanks again to Rick Peterson, TopSports.news, for joining us for the local sports spotlight this week. Won't be long before we've got real games to talk about. Real games, real practices. 2 weeks away from let's do the math here. 1, 2, 3, 4 days away from the start of high school sports practices across the state of Kansas. So we're 4 days away from practice time. 2 weeks away from the first Washburn regular season soccer and volleyball matches. 2 weeks and 2 days away from Washburn's football opener. 3 weeks away from our first broadcast of a 580 Preps high school football game of the week, because we're opening up on Thursday night tonight for the renewal of the 5:01 rivalry between Highland Park and Topeka High at Hummer Sports Park on the opening Thursday of the high school football season, September 3rd. You'll hear that game at 7 o'clock over on our sister station, Country 106.9. And that means we're 3 weeks and a day away from our first Friday night, full Friday night of high school football. We'll have a Friday night game of the week for you as well over on Country 106.9 with Topeka West playing host to Piper in United Kansas Conference action at Hummer Sports Park. It's so close. And also close is the release of our MSC Sports Pigskin Preview magazine. The final edits are being made. The advertisements are being proofread. And we are going to get ready to drop that sucker on these streets before the start of the football season. And chances are, if you're hearing me, your school's in that magazine. Chances are pretty good because we got 62 schools from Northeast Kansas, including, for the first time ever, as we combine our legendary Pigskin and Hoops magazine that we printed for nearly 40 years here with 580 WIBW with the MSC Sports Pigskin Preview that has covered not just Northeast Kansas, but also parts of Missouri and Nebraska over the years. We're joining forces to make the biggest pigskin preview ever that will include 62 schools. Shawnee County schools, all in it. Big East League, you're all in it. Every school from the capital city and some of our surrounding area schools in the magazine for the first time, like Rock Creek and Wabaunsee and Santa Fe Trail and Burlingame and Burlington and Mission Valley and Linden, all new to the magazine this year. We're excited, so excited to print that this year and get it out to all of you. Don't have the official street date for that, but once we get it, we'll let you know. We'll also let you know which merchants, which area businesses, which schools you can go to and pick up a copy for yourself. I know the last couple of years with the Pigskin Hoops magazine, that has been an online-only publication. I know people still, clicked on it, read it, enjoyed it, but missed the feeling of holding it in their hands. And I understand. I understand that feeling. And I'm glad to restore that feeling this year. So we have got the Pigskin Preview, the MSC Sports Pigskin Preview, coming your way before the start, before kickoff. You'll have it in your hands with 62 previews. And that's just high schools. We got we got a Washburn preview in the magazine. We have a Benedictine preview in the magazine. Highland Community College preview in the magazine. Peru State. I told you, getting to Nebraska with the magazine. So it's massive, and we can't wait to share it with you. Coming up a little later this month, we presume, the Pigskin Preview. Anyhow, 2 more hours to spend together today. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to answer the question of the day, and I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your answer in the chat on 580 Sports Talk's YouTube channel or in the text line, 785-272-9429. Who's the main character of the preseason for the Chiefs? That's an open-ended question. No wrong answers. So I'm curious how you answer that question. Who's the main character? Plus, the Royals are going to have to roster a bullpen in 2027. It can't be worse than this year's, right? Can't possibly, right? Who's going to pitch in it? Plus, we got What Is Wrong With You. Still got Mitch Holthus coming up at 5:25 today. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Chris Jones next hour as well. We got more 580 Sports Talk coming up.
Spencer Dupuis, talking sports in Topeka. This is 580 Sports Talk.
Let's get it. Hour number 2, 580 Sports Talk. On this Thursday, Dan Lucero and Spencer Dupuis with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC radio app, and we're on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Go subscribe. In less than 2 weeks, at least, you're going to see us eat some chicken wings with hot sauce on them. It's going to happen. Go subscribe. Be sure you're got your front row seat for that on our YouTube channel. We got 2 more hours together. No Royals baseball today. We'll talk a little Royals later on this hour because we've wrung our hands about how bad the bullpen is all year because it has been that bad. And it strikes me that part of the plan for next year for the Royals is going to have to be, to some extent, well, it can't get any worse. Even though, as Buddy Bell famously said when managing the Royals, I never say it can't get worse. It would be hard to be worse. This is an all-time disaster of a bullpen. But when the Royals start their 2027 season, whether that's on time or a little late, might be a little late. It could be a lockout for sure. There might be some missed games. I have a hard time going with the people who say, yeah, they're going to sit out a whole season. I don't think the owners are as aligned as they would need to be to not play an entire season. So
I do have a question. If the MLBPA,
the Players Association,
and the MLB owners don't agree, will we still get minor league baseball?
So, no, I don't believe so. Because I think that well,
do they have their own?
They do have a union that is separate from the. They unionized a few years back.
Yeah, I remember because during COVID and stuff, a lot of that was a big talk.
But there's a minor league collective bargaining agreement, which is separate from the major league collective bargaining agreement, but minor league players are represented by the Players Association.
Okay.
So, yeah, it wasn't their own union. They became represented by the MLBPA.
Which
so
I think
if the big leaguers are locked out, then the players are locked out. And keep in mind, that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a player strike. We're talking about an owner lockout here being the likely outcome when December rolls around. Do I think we're going to have winter meetings? No. Do I think we're going to have much of a spring training, much to the dismay of the snowbirds in Arizona and Florida? No. Do I think we will have a full 162 or something at least close enough to it that it doesn't look like a total bastardization in the record books like the COVID year did? Yes. I think we will have, because the TV deals are too valuable. And I just don't think you can afford to go into TV negotiations having just missed an entire year of your league. Otherwise, you end up on the Outdoor Life Network. Shout out to the NHL.
I think that no baseball for if it's even a portion of next season hurts the minor leagues worse than it hurts the majors.
Oh, I absolutely think there is a big story to tell, and I don't know that anybody's ever really gotten to tell it, about the a segment of minor league players who really needed a 2020 season and didn't get it, and how that and like not anybody's fault. It was, we were all just trying to do our best around
well, maybe
COVID.
it was. Who knows?
But no, it's a different show, Spencer. That's not the one we host. I would say that there is a larger story to be told regarding the lost development of some of those players. I think it's a really fascinating story, and I think there were some players who were really, really hurt by that. And probably if you're a fan of a certain team, you're really dialed in on the minor leagues, you can think of guys, you have examples of guys who, man, they lost a developmental year and they couldn't get it back, and it really, really cost them. But anyhow, that's a lot of baseball at the top of this hour. We'll get back into what I really want to talk about, which is who's really competing, who's really got a chance to make the bullpen in 2027. Because Craig Kimbrell sure doesn't. He's out there throwing 94 in low leverage in the 8th inning. Man, I get that you love it, but man, he must really love it. He's been kicking around in AAA for the better part of 2 years. Like, man, Godspeed, Craig Kimbrell. Like, I gave the Royals hell for signing it, and I gave Kimbrell a little grief for why are you still doing this, man? Like, you've got a Hall of Fame caliber resume. But you know what? If it were me and I were that great at something and I'd made it my whole life, I might want to do it till the wheels fell off too. I might want to take a jersey as long as somebody was handing one to me for as long as I possibly could.
Hey, it's a paycheck.
And not a bad one either. So we'll get there. We got What Is Wrong With You coming up this hour as well. Got some either or over under. Still got Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, coming at 5:25 on today's show. And we're going to dial in today on Nohl Williams, who is a player that we talked about a great deal last year, a great deal more relative to how much he actually played. Because a lot of the talk was, hey, why aren't they playing Nohl Williams more? He looks like he could be good. Why isn't he playing more?
Yeah.
So he's going to play a lot this year. And we'll talk about the impact that he and his skill set could have on the Chiefs this year with Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs. Our training camp report brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. Your text, 785-272-9429. 785-272-9429 is that number. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube channel. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Hello to all of our chatters today. See Carl in the chat. Vance, great to be joined by you guys as well. And I know we'll have some more join us as we go along. Hello to everybody watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. I'm curious how you'll answer this question. Okay. And I'm curious how our listeners will answer this question. It's our question of the day on the text line, 785-272-9429, and on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk in the chat. And we've had some interesting answers so far. But I was reading The Ringer today. Every now and again, one of their articles is actually about sports and not like Bill Simmons rewatches a movie you forgot about and argues that it was actually a classic. Here's a 2-hour podcast.
Which you have to log in on Netflix to watch.
Yes, a 2-hour podcast with House, with my buddy House. Anyway, I used to be such a Bill Simmons fan, and I cannot remember the last time I've digested any of his content. Like, I can't. I was such a sports guy, honk. When I was in high school, couldn't miss his columns. Now I don't even listen to the podcast regularly. Anyway, it happens. You grow out of people sometimes. So The Ringer had an article today about the main characters of the preseason. And that's obviously an open-ended description. Like, you can make that whatever you want. But, like, for example, I'm trying to pull up the article here. In the article written by Stephen Ruiz, friend of the program. We've had him on the show before.
Yeah.
Stephen Ruiz cited guys like, there's a lot of, like, backup or second-string quarterbacks like J.J. McCarthy, Shedeur Sanders, Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza, also Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver of the Cardinals. He might be a bust. He might stink. What's that about? He's an interesting guy to watch.
Just because you got the name doesn't mean anything.
Sean Mannion is the offensive coordinator of the Eagles, which is always a job that puts you on the hot seat.
Allegedly, him and Jalen Hurts aren't jiving very well.
And another answer in Stephen Ruiz's article is whoever is throwing the challenge flag for your team, because you can delegate that responsibility as a head coach now. But it got me thinking, who's the main character of the Chiefs preseason? And I'll give you a second.
That's a great question.
I'll give you a second to chew on that because, like I said, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think it's an open-ended question. My answer is Cyrus Allen. And the reason that my answer is Cyrus Allen is because if he is who they say he is, if he is the steel, the diamond in the rough that the Chiefs think they have on their hands, it changes a lot about what you feel like that receiver core is, and as such, what you feel like the passing offense can do, and all of a sudden bumps the ceiling on a Patrick Mahomes offense that I already think has had its ceiling bumped by the addition, and bumped substantially by the addition of Kenneth Walker. The reason I don't say, well, Kenneth Walker's the main character of the preseason, he's not going to play a lot. Like, I bet he doesn't play Saturday.
Yeah.
Like,
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes isn't going to play, right? Like, can't be the main character if you're off screen the whole time, right?
I've got a good one.
So my main character is Cyrus Allen because I do think he is going to play. And if he looks the part against live competition, even though it's going to be probably primarily Justin Fields throwing him the ball, because I don't expect Allen's going to play a lot with, like, Garrett Nussmeier or the third team. Yeah. If he's as good as they have said that he has been in camp, he's going to get, like, first-team level reps. So he'll be out there with Fields, but I don't know that he'll be out there much with Nussmeier. I don't think he'll play a lot of second halves, but he'll be out there. And if he can prove that he looks the part, if he's out there dicing up second-team defensive backs or even some first-team defensive backs, then all of a sudden, if Allen is a guy, you feel like, okay, the Chiefs go 4 deep at wide receiver, and maybe there's not a star, maybe there's not a true wide receiver one in the mix, but it's all guys that can do some things, that have flashed a little bit. You're not as reliant on Rashee Rice to be the 2023 version of himself. You're not as reliant on Xavier Worthy to put it all together. You're not as reliant on the 5th-year breakout for Tyquan Thornton. It just changes what you need from the rest of the wide receiver group and recalibrates, I think, your expectations for that group to be, okay, well, maybe this is sufficient. Maybe this is as good a wide receiver group as Mahomes needs to really make things shake. Because, look, if Allen's a guy, then I think they have a better receiver core than they did last year, health permitting. And I think they have a better receiver group than they did when they won the Super Bowl 2 years or 3 years ago. When they went to the Super Bowl, maybe even. So, and lost to the Eagles. They might have a better group if Allen is a guy. Yeah. So he is extremely fascinating to me, not just in terms of the production, but also, like I said, I don't think he's going to play a lot with, like, I don't think he's going to be out there a whole lot running with Jacob DeJesus and Jimmy Holiday, right? Like, he'll be out there with the ones, or he'll be out there with the twos like Andrew Armstrong or Jalen Royals. But I don't think you're going to see him a whole lot out there with, like, Jeff Caldwell on the other side, like they did in college. So that's why he's the main character for me. Who's the main character for you? Who is the main character for this Chiefs
I think
preseason?
Only because we don't. What has he done? What has he done for this team? Is he even serviceable? I think we're going to learn a lot about Jared Wiley this preseason.
That's an interesting one.
Because, look.
Mitch talked about him a lot yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, look. Travis Kelce is aging. You'd like him to go have an 800-yard season, 800-plus yard receiving season. But what if he doesn't? Somebody needs to step up. Could be Jared Wiley. He could be a guy that's just doomed for a breakout year. And if it's him, is he serviceable? I think we're going to learn a lot because I'm assuming he's going to be playing a lot in the beginning of games. Probably. Middle of games. Yeah. Not with the third guys, maybe with the second guys.
Yeah, because you would expect we won't see much Travis Kelce. He needs reps.
Yeah.
Like, he lost that whole rookie year to the injury, and is still kind of behind, it feels like, in his development. He could use the rep.
I thought when they first drafted him, I kind of thought maybe he would not be Travis Kelce, but be like Noah Gray was 2 years ago by last year. But I was wrong.
They need somebody to produce like that, whether it's Wiley or Gray, for sure. I like this answer from Andrew in the live chat. I would say the main character is Khalil Benson. Try and figure out if he's playing tackle or guard, especially with Trey Smith still being out. No reason as of right now to be concerned that Trey Smith is going to miss any real important time. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that he's not practicing. I don't think that doesn't matter to me. I think about the best offensive lineman in the game. Sometimes they don't even really need this. Like Walter Jones, he's a Hall of Famer, so it's tough to compare anybody to Walter Jones. But Walter Jones famously would hold out, in air quotes, every year from the Seahawks and just do his own workout, and then he'd show up the first week of games, and he was a Hall of Famer. He didn't need no stinking training camp. So I say that to say I'm not worried about a guy like Trey Smith not being out there for practices. It'll be a concern when Andy Reid says it's a concern. But Khalil Benson's a great answer because we're going to see him get first-team reps, right? And do the Chiefs have a long-term solution at right tackle? Whether or not Jalen Moore is the guy this year, does Benson look like a potential long-term, low-cost, that's crucial, even with the salary cap skyrocketing, solution at the right tackle position? He's going to prove a lot. Not only could he start right away, that's within the realm of possibility, but has he shown enough to make you feel like, all right, maybe he's the third tackle this year ahead of Esapole, and he can maybe play some guard in a pinch, but long term, we think we've got a starter here on a guy we picked up on with a tryout camp invite. So I think it's a good answer. I like that. I like that answer. Mark B says Noah Gray. We talked a little, obviously, about him with Mitch Holthus on our training camp report yesterday. He says he's shown he has the goods. Does he have a rebound season after last year's collapse? Carl throws in Felix Anudike-Uzomah, which is another good answer. He was running with the ones today, and suspect that he will again on Saturday, whatever the other ones around him are. Is Chris Jones going to be one of those? Well, you'll get his answer, or what he wishes the answer would be, here in just a little bit. But he's another guy that maybe the Chiefs don't need to be a high-level producer, but if he looks like an NFL contributor, that would be more than we expected he was going to look like. Let's get some audio from St. Joe today. Not a whole lot at the podium on this day before tomorrow's off day and Saturday's game. Andy Reid didn't speak for long, but here's what Big Red had to say.
The fellas that didn't practice today were Chamari. Chamari banged his knee, and so we gave him a little time there for that thing to calm down. Jimmy Holiday didn't practice, and then Trey Smith, L'Jarius Sneed, and Tranquil. Everybody else was out there rolling, and it was good work. It was a 10-10-10 period, so it was non-contact. Guys that might have been in a yellow jersey weren't in yellow jerseys today. And then Cater has a little soreness in his ankle, so we kept him out also. Look forward to the challenge of playing a team actually coming up here with the Rams, and so being able to compete against somebody else, and it should be a good test for our young guys to get out there and have an opportunity to play. So the way the rotation will go is Pat won't start or play, and then so it'll be Justin, and then Nussmeier, and then Chris will take it from there. So, and we'll just see how the reps go as we work through that. All right, well, that time's yours.
Do you expect maybe more starters than usual will be out this week than maybe typically do others?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Matt?
And I wanted to ask you about, seems like coaches this year will have the opportunity to delegate to someone else for challenges. Is that something that you could see yourself doing, or do you think you'll still make those calls?
Yeah, so I've got a guy in the box that I talked to. So I've basically delegated it to him to know. We've got technology up there that you can use. So I'll probably still do it, but that's not a real big deal.
Yeah, just because he always is sort of making that decision with the replays and everything.
Yeah, I communicate upstairs. So, yeah.
You may be holding on to this, that's fine, but do you need to see the starting offensive line, just considering you have Benson and Moore in there?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a chance they get in and play. How much, I can't tell you that, if at all. Good question, though.
That was it from Andy Reid. It was the first looking forward to the challenge of the year, though.
What's the challenge?
The challenge of playing the Rams.
But
he looks forward to the challenge of playing the Rams. It's just something that he says before every game week. It's not dissimilar from me opening the hour of 580 Sports Talk the same way every time. It's just a way to it's a verbal, like a mental trick to stay on track and just like know what you're doing and get started. And once you get started, you're just pedaling the bike.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love that he's looking forward to the challenge of his 2s and 3s playing the Rams 2s and 3s. But the other part of it too is the Chiefs haven't won a preseason game since 2023. I think that annoys Andy Reid. I would wager a guess that is at the least something that annoys him. Does he care? Like, is it something he's going to sell out to try and win a preseason game? No. But would he like to see his team and his 90 guys execute for 60 minutes and go win a football game in the preseason? I think he would like that.
Yeah, but
especially
I mean, you're not putting anything out there.
When was the last time the Chiefs won a football game at all, right? They ended last year on a 6-game losing streak. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, is he going to play? He's not even sure. He had that and other things to say at the podium today in St. Joe.
We're all dealing with the heat, man. You got to battle through it. And mental toughness. That's where it's created out here. You're going to repetition, back-to-back days of practice with pads on. I think it's more so building mental toughness out here, so in the game, won't be so effective.
Chris, Pat has gone into his 10th year now. You've been here the whole time, along with just 2 other guys, Travis and James. I guess, what do you remember just about the early days of him taking over and how it's kind of led to what it's led to?
Memory lane. A lot of adversity at first when I got here. And then championships, and then a little more adversity, and hopefully and then championships.
But just Patrick specifically, like how did you feel like that changed initially? Just kind of the culture.
We won a championship. That what changed. I mean, anytime you get a good quarterback and able to win with it, I think that changes the dynamic of a team and an organization. So, yeah.
There's a moment a couple days ago after the one-on-ones where you wanted to speak to the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman. I just wonder what led to that decision to make that message, and what was your message to your team?
Can't talk about it.
How important are these days? You talked about it throughout your career about it's easy to talk before camp. It's days like today when you really have to be a leader. How critical are these days for this football team?
I think adversity builds character. I've always been a big believer of that. And, with the heat, with back-to-back days, pads on, and, we're kind of tired of hitting each other. These are the days to battle through it. Later on when you get during the season, week 12 or 13, when your body starts talking to you, mind over matter. And I think that's what we're building right now. We've got a bunch of young guys, a lot of guys out of college. So to hit that wall and continue to push is what we're building right now.
Reps with Tonga. Just what are your thoughts on him now? What he could do for you on the early downs this season?
I'm glad he's on our side of the ball. I actually was fond of Tumba when they played the Denver Broncos, how he was resetting the line of scrimmage. And, it's lucky how life works, man. It's the cycle of life that we was able to acquire him to our D-line. And, he's a great asset for us. And, we were able to utilize him on first and second down.
Also, your evaluation on your voice, what do you think of him so far this camp, and what has he impressed about?
Strong, a young bull. I think for him, just pulling it all together, he has the skill set, he has the power for it also. He's strong as an ox, but and he's willing to learn. I think a lot of these guys, they're coming from college, being one of the top guys in college, and being humble in yourself and being willing to learn and being a sponge. I think most importantly, that's what he is, and I think he's going to contribute to this defense a lot this year.
across the league, you see some stars not playing preseason. Andy hasn't said who's going to play other than Patrick's not going to play. But what do you get out of preseason games and just matching up against somebody else?
Why play the starters? I mean, it's so much risk you're taking to play the starters at preseason. I hope Coach Reid be like, you know what, starters don't play. But also it's getting reps, repetition. We've been playing against each other. It's good to get repetition, but I don't want to play preseason. I'd rather not play, but if I do have to play, I'm going to buckle up.
Anybody else? I was going to say, is it different, too, when you're going against a team that doesn't play its starters?
Yeah, so the mentality is like, I want to play against their starters. You know what I mean? I want to play against, the guys that's going to be starting on Sunday because, you like to weigh yourself out, where I'm at, where I improve, and give me your best talent. So it kind of can change the dynamic, but anytime we get on that field, you got to give your best.
That was Chris Jones. He want to play if the Rams are going to suit up some bums.
Yeah.
But if it's best on best, buckle up.
I don't blame him.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Honest to goodness, I respect that perspective.
Well,
I'm not dying to go play in the preseason.
Speaking of dying, you could die on Saturday at Arrowhead at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. It's going to be like 100 degrees.
It's going to be gross. It's
Yeah.
gross right now. It's gross today. It's just nothing but the air is sticky.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play in that either.
No.
I'd rather just chill out in the locker room. But anyhow, that's what Chris Jones had to say. We're going to take a timeout. We got What Is Wrong With You coming up. We'll talk a little Royals baseball. Again, your text, 785-272-9429. Also, the live chat on YouTube at 580 Sports Talk. Quick word for my friends at Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon. I was driving around today, my lunch break, and I saw a car come off the lot at a competitor. And I'm telling you, my car looked better than their car did. And I know that because I went to Eagle today. I went to Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon. I'm an Ultimate Wash Pass member. You should be too. Prices as low as $19 to start and as low as $9 for your first month being an Ultimate Wash Pass member. You get the towel dry. There's no streaks in your shine. They treat your car like it's their own, and you roll off the lot with the best shine in town. That means something to the people, the local ownership of Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon. Go see him. You won't regret it. Your car will look great, just like mine does today. Go see him in Fairlawn Plaza, Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon. Soar with the Eagle once a week. 580 Sports Talk returns after this. So what is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk? We've got two new stories competing today. Try and take down the story that won on Monday and has remained our weekly champion. It's a very simple one. Machete versus hatchet. Two guys fighting over a woman. One had a machete. The other had a hatchet. Nobody died somehow, but one guy had a machete on him and the other had a hatchet on his person. And that's how we get to where we get. Two stories today. I'm going to go first. We're going to Washington, D.C., where a stretch of a major roadway was brought to a standstill during Wednesday morning's rush hour because somebody called and said, I think I saw somebody put a bomb in a trash can. Somebody put a suspicious device, blue and black with exposed wires, into a trash can near the Tenleytown Fire Station around 7 a.m. So the Metropolitan Police Department's bomb squad and K-9 unit were both called to the scene to investigate. The busy Wisconsin Avenue was shut down for nearly 2 hours, with several lanes on nearby streets also blocked. People don't play about bomb threats, especially in our nation's capital. And they shouldn't. It's the appropriate response.
Yeah.
If they think that there is a threat to the public. This is not an overreaction just because it didn't end up being a bomb. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And this is not a criticism today of the bomb squad or the Metropolitan Police Department. But the person calling it in, it was an overreaction on their part because it was not a bomb. It was, how do we refer to these on this program? It was an adult toy.
Yeah.
It was a marital aid. We've used that a couple of times. That's my favorite.
A shaky thing.
It was an electronic sex portable pump device.
Oh, wow.
As identified by the police. Eagle-eyed users on social media identified it as a toy known as the Zolo Blowbot. The toy features adjustable suction levels and a drying function. It currently retails for over $300.
Wow. People are spending that much money on that stuff?
It ain't my money. I'm not. We don't judge. We kind of judge. I mean, we do pit the stories against each other.
Yes.
But we're not judging here. Just the person no longer had any use for the toy. Maybe it had stopped functioning. Maybe the drying function was no longer working the way it was intended. But yes, put it in the trash can outside a fire station and ground traffic to a halt in the Capitol for 2 hours.
Yeah,
that's
not a good thing.
If I were late to work or an important meeting or school and it was behind an adult toy being thrown in the trash, I'd be so mad.
There are cameras everywhere these days. I wonder if they're going to catch the person.
I mean, he didn't do anything wrong, right? He took trash and he put it in the trash can. It's like he's litter.
Guess, yeah.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like, again, we're not trying to shame this person. Nobody really did anything wrong here, except for maybe the person that called the police overreacted a little bit. Like, maybe get a little closer.
False report?
Maybe get a little closer to the cylinder with the wires exposed. And just, check it out. Just be sure. Be a little more sure next time. What's your story today?
We're going to Leesburg, Florida. Not my hometown. That's Virginia. A Lake County man is accused of getting into a fight with a neighbor over dog feces. Trey DeCloit, I believe is how you say it, was arrested over the weekend in Leesburg by Lake County Sheriff's deputies. Deputies said he believed that his neighbor wasn't cleaning up his dogs. I've complained about the dog's bleep in my yard. I said something to his old lady about it. She said she would pick it up. 4 hours later, it was still there. I set it on the edge of the driveway right there. He told officers in the body cam footage. The neighbors tell a different story. They say DeCloit opened the door to his home, shouted at him while holding the feces in his hand, and threw it, hitting him. Then that led to a physical fight as the victim tried to get him off his property. According to the arrest affidavit, DeCloit struck the victim in the head, then grabbed a scooter and lifted it over his head, threatening the victim. Deputies said he claimed that he and the neighbor had an understanding that they could enter each other's homes without knocking And that's when he went to talk to the neighbor about the issue. It was the neighbor who shoved Decloyd first, leading to the physical fight. Deputies say they spoke to the victim about the defendant's claims that they had an agreement to allow walking into each other's homes. The victim produced a recording he sent to Decloyd in which the victim reportedly told Decloyd that he was no longer welcome to his home.
So he specifically said the opposite.
Yes.
Not only can you not just walk in my home whenever you want, I don't want you in my home at all.
Yes, he now faces charges of burglary with battery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and simple battery.
Do I understand being upset if you ask somebody, hey, I'd rather you not have your dogs do their dirty, sinful business on my front yard? Do I understand being upset about that? Absolutely. Do I maybe understand even having the desire to relocate the feces, let's say, to a more appropriate location that is not my front yard? Yes. Man, picked it up, threw it in that man's house? Nah, like at the very least, you got to like go get like a shovel, like a spade, pick it up, and then use it like a lacrosse stick.
Yeah.
And like you want to fling it that way, like, all right, kind of understand. I kind of understand that. Like I really do.
Yeah,
like if I've asked you multiple times, hey, don't like it when your dogs poop on my yard. Please don't. Like I understand they're animals, nature calls, all that stuff, but like I don't want it in my yard anymore. Please do not let them do that in my yard anymore. And if you continue to let them do that, then there should be some consequences. You should maybe have to deal with the poop in that fashion. Oh, he picked it up. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew. With his hand. Yuck. Gross. That wins. I think that beats machete versus hatchet because I think it's a funnier story.
Yeah. They told him not to go into their house
He said, no, it's cool. He said I could go into his house whenever he wanted. No, man, I said the opposite of that.
And then because of that, he got a burglary charge.
He got an extra charge. It's just really funny.
Yeah.
That's a real like icing on the cake there. So, yeah, we got the feces flinger. That's going to be our winner on What Is Wrong With You and continue to tomorrow. We're going to take a timeout, come back. Royals bullpen stinks. Is there any way we can find a way to make it stink less for 2027 in the final 40 games of 2026? We'll discuss next on 580 Sports Talk.
.580 Sports Talk. On the radio at 580 WIBW. Streaming video on 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. And streaming audio live on the MSC radio app.
.44 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you. Mitch Holthus at 5:25 on the program today. Voice of the Chiefs for another training camp report. Brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. Also, an interesting survey about which fans think they would make the best general managers in baseball. Royals fans, it turns out, have a pretty high opinion of themselves. But do they really have the ability? Maybe not so much. Another survey in which the Royals fans sampled apparently did not know enough ball, which is disturbing because I know Royals fans know ball because you listen to the show. I know Royals fans know ball, but apparently in this survey they didn't. And we'll discuss that a little bit later on in the show today. Speaking of the Royals, they lost last night. Dodgers swept them 4-2, the final score. Mookie Betts homered, Shohei Ohtani homered, Hunter Fiducia homered, and that was that. Daniel Lynch, his second start did not go a whole lot better than the first. He made it just an inning and 2/3, gave up the solo homer to Betts and the 2-run homer to Ohtani. And in this experiment of moving Lynch from the bullpen to a starting role, he's going to have to relearn at least one thing: how to pitch into a second and third inning and beyond while varying your stuff, varying your looks so hitters aren't sitting on your best pitches or your most commonly used pitch sequences. It's part of the process of going from relief to a starting role.
I don't
the
know.
velocity,
If I was him, I would just say, put me back in relief. I'm done with this crap.
Well, here's the other thing. Whether you're a starter or a reliever, you can't throw 93-mile-an-hour middle to Shohei Ohtani. Like, I don't care what role you're in or what your name is or how hard you even throw. 93 middle to Shohei Ohtani is a bad pitch. And that whether Lynch is starting or relieving, can't throw that. Can't throw that because if you do, then what ends up happening is what ended up happening. So some lessons are a little more obvious than others. But, 2 starts into the experiment, seeing if Lynch can be a starter. And like I said when they did it, I understand why the Royals are doing it. There's a path for Lynch to be successful at it because it matters a little bit less if he's a ground ball heavy, not as reliant on a strikeout pitcher as a starter than it does as a reliever. But so far, he's not missed enough bats, and the bats that have made contact. I wasn't real fussed about the Cubs thing, cause the Cubs game, the first start, because it was just a bunch of singles. But, 2 home runs in an inning and 2/3, not what you want. A little bit louder contact off of Lynch last night. The bullpen did okay. Mason Black gave up a run in 3 innings. Jose Cuas cleaned up Lynch's mess. He's actually been okay since being called up around the trade deadline. Craig Kimbrell made his Royals debut out there throwing 94 miles an hour.
He walked a guy.
He did walk a guy, got a double play, got right out of it. So it was a clean 1-2-3-8. He's now played for 12 big league teams. A great immaculate grid player. Anyhow, we have talked about how grim the picture for the starting pitching situation is going into 2027. Hence the Daniel Lynch experiment, the very existence, the reason for its existence. But what about the bullpen for 2027? Because that's not looking a whole lot more promising. There are 2 guys I feel like saying right now, August 13th, obviously health permitting, 2 guys I feel like saying, yes, definitely that pitcher is going to be a part of the 2027 bullpen in some capacity. Steven Cruz and Nate Pearson. And I don't even know if those guys are good, right? Like, Pearson's made a good first impression. 7 scoreless outings with 6 strikeouts and 6 2/3. And the stuff, like, you can see the vision with Pearson. I talked about him yesterday. Steven Cruz may never be great, but it's obviously a big league relief arm. And if he can rein in the long ball, which has been crazy this year, like giving up over 2 home runs per 9, that can't last. But if he can rein in the gopher balls a little bit, he might even be more than just good. But I think it's a big league relief arm for Cruz. Pearson doesn't have any options left anyway, so I think those 2 guys are for sure in the 2027 bullpen. You get past that, and it's a whole lot of question marks. You've got 3 guys who are arbitration eligible for next year: Nick Mears, Alex Lang, and Lucas Erceg. None of those guys are going to get a big raise. Lang and Mears are both out of minor league options. Urseg might be too, or he might have to consent to an option, but Lang and Mears for sure are out of options. So the Royals will have the opportunity to give them small raises and bring them back for they're not making a lot of money as is, or they could non-tender them contracts and say goodbye. Jose Cuas and Eli Morgan are both ARB eligible, but those have been fringe roster up and down yo-yo guys all year. Cuas has an option year. Morgan doesn't. Mason Black is pre-arb, so's Beck Way, so's Connor Siebold. So those guys are making pre-arbitration salaries, very cheap to keep around. No reason to kick them to the curb for the sake of it, with the exception possibly of Siebold, who's out of options. And there's always the chance that Daniel Lynch can come back, particularly because he's the first left-hander I've mentioned. The Royals are a little thin at left-handed reliever right now. So of the guys you've got a decision to make as far as arbitration goes, I would bring Mears and Urseg back. I would. Mears got hurt early. We didn't really get a chance. It wasn't real good what we saw, but if he was pitching hurt, maybe give him another chance next year. Urseg, I just think needs a full, I think that dude needs a vacation. He and his wife had a baby earlier this year, so I don't know if they had a baby moon or what, but that dude needs to get far away from baseball. I think he needs a full mental reset if he's ever going to get back to being usable in the big leagues. Jose Cuas I'd bring back because why not? But I've seen enough of Alex Lang to know I don't want any more of that. It's clear the Royals don't really like Eli Morgan, so I don't think he's coming back. Beck Way is the only one of those pre-arb guys I would give serious consideration to being a part of next year's bullpen, and only as a middle inning, multi-inning option. I'm not wild about Mason Black. I don't think there's a lot there. Connor Siebold, like I said, out of options, so he has to make the team. Otherwise, you have to DFA him. Guys like that, I'd rather have a bunch of guys with options around than ones who don't. Then you have all the new guys that we haven't seen yet, like Luke Little, who's a lefty, so I'd like to see him sooner rather than later. Carlos Duran, who they got in the Bubich trade from L.A. Nolan Hoffman. We've seen a little bit of Easton McGee. Hasn't been great, but it's just a small sample size. Maybe over the next 40 games, we get to see those four guys, and maybe one or two of them break through and throw down a marker for 2027. But it's grim, man. That gives you Cruz, Peterson, Mears, Urseg, Cuas. Do you really want to go into next year with Jose Cuas nailed into your bullpen? No. The Royals also have a $13 million player option on Carlos Estevez. They're obviously not going to pick that up. But, I don't know. You try and bring him back on a prove-it deal for next year. Proven closer. Just write off this year as an injury. If he's got anything left, there's a chance the meat slid off his shoulder like ribs. And he's just got nothing left. But if he does, maybe bring him back something low cost for next year. I don't know. Point is this. Royals going to have to spend some money on that bullpen. But the other point is 40 games left. There should be opportunities for guys like Little and Duran and McGee and Hoffman and even Mason Black to prove that, yeah, we deserve to be a part of the mix. Because the more guys that look viable, even in 40 meaningless games from here to the end of September, the more guys that look like viable big leaguers, the less you have to spend on relievers in the market. They're going to have to go get. They're going to have to go get a lefty, at least one. But you don't want to go out and have to give multiple contracts, 7-figure contracts, to relief pitchers. You'd really rather not do that. You really want some of these guys to force the issue and say, I'm a big leaguer, and I'll see you at opening day 2027. We'll take a break. When we come back, continuing our countdown to Chiefs kickoff on 580 Sports Talk. 4:55 on 580 Sports Talk. Couple of questions from the text line regarding the Royals bullpen future. One thought from the 785: as long as they continue to shop at the rescue mission for relief pitching, the Royals are screwed. That's kind of what they did. They did. Sometimes you come up with 2024 Sam Long, and sometimes you come up with 2026 Alex Lang. That's more often you come up with you go bust. But there are going to be some dumpster diving, no question. Also from the 785, do you bring John Schreiber back? He'll be a free agent at the end of the year. I would not. I think that he is past his best. I no longer think he's real reliable. But if, the free agent market's going to be funky considering the lockout, he might be a guy that, takes a short-term one-year deal to come back and doesn't cost you a whole lot. And at the very least, you feel better maybe about him than you do about Beckway in a leverage spot. From the 785, why not throw Cole Reagans in the bullpen? Well, one, I don't think Reagans is necessarily a guarantee to throw at all in 2027. He's coming off of his third Tommy John surgery. But even if he does make it back, and again, I wouldn't count on that, the Royals also have a significant starting pitcher shortage. And when Reagans is on the mound, he's their best starting pitcher. So if they're going to bring him back, they need to aim to do it as a starter, which is why I kind of think he won't pitch at all in 2027. It is 33 days until the Chiefs and the Broncos kick things off at Arrowhead Stadium in Week 1 of the 2026 NFL season, that Monday night football game at Arrowhead. And number 33 is, of course, retired by the Chiefs. And on this 33rd day to kick off, on this point of the countdown, we remember Stone Johnson, who died 63 years ago this September 8th after suffering a neck injury in an exhibition game in Wichita 8 days prior. Stone Johnson was an Olympic sprinter, competed for Team USA in the 1960 Rome Games, went on to star in football at Grambling, and is one of only 2 players in the NFL to have their numbers retired by a team without ever having appeared in a regular season game. Ernie Davis, who, of course, won the Heisman Trophy at Syracuse, but then contracted leukemia and passed away before he could start his career with the Cleveland Browns, is the other. The Browns have his number 45 retired, just as the Chiefs retired the number 33 for Stone Johnson. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk, we got our 580 Sports Talk headlines coming up. We got Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs, for another training camp report presented by Azura Credit Union and Hy-Vee. We'll play a short either-or over-under, and which team's fans would make the best general managers? The Royals, well, their fans didn't represent themselves very well in this particular survey, even though they really thought they would. That's all coming up on the final hour of 580 Sports Talk for this Thursday here on 580 WIBW.
Nobody covers your teams like our team.
This is my team?
The sports voice of Kansas.
A musclehead, a bunch of yes men, and a doodler?
580 WIBW.
Everyone can help keep our roads safe. When I'm driving...
Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday. We're so glad you're with us. We hope you're staying cool as best as you can on this scorcher of a Thursday in the capital city. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC radio app, and on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. With you for one more hour. No Royals baseball tonight. Boys in Blue back in action tomorrow night. First of a 3-game series in Anaheim against the Los Angeles Angels. Be an 8 o'clock pregame and an 8:38 first pitch. So you don't have to stay up quite as late. When did you get to bed last night's game? Last night's game a little bit more conventional, a little quicker to the post for those to get those sports updates for the morning recorded.
Well, I'll be frank. I fell asleep at 10:30.
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure your girlfriend's pretty worn out.
Yes, I think she was happy because the other night I had woken her up at 12:30, and she was not happy. So
I bet not. No, my wife, it was her first day as well. For the uninitiated, my wife, his girlfriend, both teachers, grade school teachers, and yesterday was first day for both of them. My wife was. I did bedtime, and I came out of my son's bedroom, and my wife was totally asleep. And so I said, I said, all right, I'll see if she wants to wake up. She did not, and I understood. I was not upset, and I just I kept it moving. I did my laundry, and I watched some of the Royals game, and got a little CFB 27 in. And then that was my evening. But also, though, I did try a glass of whole milk. For those who were with us yesterday.
The saga continues.
For those who were with us yesterday, a conversation about milk just spontaneously occurred. And I don't know why it is. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess my parents made the decision for me, but it was always 2% in the Lucero household growing up. So that's the milk I drink. I haven't, wanted to drink any other kind of milk. I just go for the 2%. Like, that's been the choice my whole life. And we've been buying whole milk because they tell you to give that to your kiddo when they're little, because I guess there's more vitamins and pure
helps
milk.
with the bone development.
Yeah, you got to develop those bones, especially as big as my son is getting. And so he drinks the whole milk, and my wife and I drink the 2% milk. And we were talking about that yesterday, and multiple people on the text line hit me with, dude, get with the program and drink some whole milk. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And I did. I had a glass of whole milk. It tasted good. It was not scary. It was not bad. It was not revolting. And I had another glass today, in fact.
Wow.
With lunch. I had a peanut butter jelly sandwich for lunch and I had another glass of whole milk. So I might have been converted. And that's going to, if I can get my wife to convert with me to drinking whole milk, and we're just all on the whole milk train, then that's going to save some fridge space. Because we don't have to. And money.
Save you about $3.50 or something these days.
It'll save us a little money if we get on the whole milk train. But I'm in. Y'all were right. The text line, YouTube commenters, 580 Sports Talk, text line 785-272-9429. Never steered me wrong. Not once. Which I appreciate.
I'm going to say 1% to me doesn't taste very dissimilar. It tastes pretty close to whole milk.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if I could tell the difference between, if you gave
if you give me fat-free skim milk,
yeah,
I could tell a whole ways the difference.
Skim milk, big trash. Thumbs down on skim. Thumbs down. I did try that once. Bad. And that's also part of the reason I was reluctant to change course. Mention the text line, 785-272-9429. Text, we were talking about the Royals bullpen last hour. Text with 785 says, but we have Craig Kimbrell now. I don't think he's coming back for 2027. But any team that will give him a uniform, he'll give it a go. He'll give it a run. Our question of the day today, which you can still answer, question of the day, 785-272-9429, or in the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Who do you consider the main character of the Chiefs preseason? And this is an off-the-board answer from the 785. Ethan Hurkett, the undrafted free agent out of Iowa, especially with Bolton leaving practice the other day, the linebacker core fairly small, having a young guy fill in the role of Leo Chanel is going to be a lot to ask. Hurkett might be the guy closest to maybe what they thought Ethan Downs was going to be this year before he tore up his knee first day of workouts, or sort of a hybrid defensive end linebacker who they can sneak through to the practice squad. I'll be interested to see him. He's a good player at Iowa. Him and Xavier Wampa were good players at Iowa. And Wampa's got maybe a little bit more of a realistic shot to make the 53. But, yeah, I'll be interested to see what his role is. A lot of guys, those undrafted guys that, they were good in college or they had a carrying tool that got them an invite to a camp, or if you're Jeff Caldwell, just an athletic freak. How does it look in an NFL game? We get to find out on Saturday. 3 o'clock kick, 2 o'clock pregame coverage right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. The Chiefs and the Rams. No Patrick Mahomes. I know that you're stunned to hear that, but it was made official today. Patrick Mahomes will not play in the preseason opener on Saturday.
There were some tea leaves through the last couple of weeks where Andy Reid, I think it was by our guy Matt Derrick, might have asked him something about planning his usage in the preseason, and Andy Reid said something along the lines of, "I really don't see Patrick Mahomes playing in the preseason, not because of his health, but we'll see."
Yeah, just no reason, no reason to do it. So that's not our first headline today. This is our first of our 580 Sports Talk headlines today. More watch listing for local college football standouts. Trey Lathan, the latest to find himself on a watch list. The redshirt senior linebacker at KU, one of 51 players named to the Butkus Award preseason watch list. The Butkus Award naturally goes to the nation's top linebacker. Lathan was Kansas's leading tackler last year, 86 stops, 7 for loss, a sack and a half, and an interception. He was an honorable mention all Big 12 selection. He started 30 games, played in 34 over his college career, and enters his second year as the leader in the middle of that KU defense. Trey Lathan, one of 51 linebackers across the country, named to the Butkus Award preseason watch list. Simple and easy headline there. How about you give us a headline, Spencer?
Yes, it's been another few weeks. So Jeff Mittie decided to add another international player to his team in the Kansas State women's basketball team as they announced another international talent forward, Christina Osazuwa.
Very well done.
Yes. Shout out to the Kansas State Sports Information Department for that being above the start of the story, a pronunciation guide. So she is signed from Italy to join the Wildcats. The 6'2" forward took part in this summer's Italian Summer National Team training camp in their preparations for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup in Germany. Prior to her participation in that senior national team camp, she helped Italy to a third-place finish at the 2025 FIBA U20 Euro basket by averaging 14 points, shooting over 56% from the field, about 8 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and a steal and a block per game in 7 games played. At the conclusion of the event, she was selected to the All-Star 5 for her performance during the tournament. She ranked 7th in the event in rebounds and 15th in scoring, including a 31.7 rebound performance against the Netherlands in the final group phase game for Italy.
Did they already have an Italian on the roster?
I don't know.
Is that another one of the United Nations that will play for the Midi Cats this coming season?
Belgium, France, Greece, Slovenia, Spain, Italy, and the United States.
How about that?
6 players returning and 6 players from different countries. How about
and another player who can help them out in the post where they didn't have a ton of depth returning. So another addition, an overseas addition for Jeff Mittie and K-State basketball. Continuing our 580 Sports Talk headlines, the FedEx Cup playoffs are underway, and the PGA Tour, Gary Woodland, one of the qualifiers for the event. You had to be in the top 70 in FedEx Cup points to make the playoffs, the 3-week playoffs, which start today in Memphis. God, imagine playing golf in the middle of the afternoon in Memphis today, where AccuWeather tells me right now it is 98 degrees.
Jeez.
No thanks. TPC Southwind, host of the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Gary Woodland was, I believe, 27th or 28th, but he was in the top 30 of the FedEx Cup standings. If he remains in the top 30 through the next 2 events, he'll play in the season-ending Tour Championship with a chance for that $20 million prize. And that's looking good for at least 1 week because Gary Woodland's off to a flying start at the FedEx St. Jude. A 4-under 66 for G-Dub, who went out early today. That puts him 1 shot back of a group of 5 players at 5 under par, a group that includes last week's winner at the Wyndham, Michael Thorbjornsen, he won at the where did he win? He won at 3M 2 weeks ago. Last week was your guy, Michael Brennan, at the Wyndham. But Thorbjornsen won at the 3M. He won his first tournament 2 weeks ago. He's at 5 under. Jordan Spieth, who's won a handful of tournaments, is at 5 under. Kurt Kitayama, Jake Knapp, Michael Kim, all 5 under par. Big group at 4 under along with G-Dub includes last year's Tour champion Tommy Fleetwood, Hideki Matsuyama, Sungjae Im, Chris Gotterup, Bud Cauley, and Adam Scott. There are 4 golfers at 3 under, including Patrick Rogers, who's still finishing up his round. Today, 37 golfers, 37 of the 70 broke par. One who did not, or 37 of the 69, excuse me. Somebody withdrew. I didn't see who. One who did not break par, Rory McIlroy, 4 over 74, puts him in 68th place. My guy, Bobby Mack, rough showing. Left-hander from Scotland, Robert McIntyre, an 82 today. Golf is hard.
Yeah, my guy, Michael Brennan, 73.
Oh, yeah, just saw him. 73's, that's, that's.
It was going to be tough anyway because he's played, I think, for 5 straight weeks, 6 straight weeks.
Grinded his way to making the playoff, yeah.
So, SVP and, what's his buddy's name? Other bald guy. They have a
Stanford
Steve. They do a little podcast, and they always post clips, and they always talk about DMV guys.
Mm-hmm.
Brennan's obviously a DMV guy, and they said, man, he's been playing for 6 straight weeks, and it's going to be tough for him next week.
Yeah, that's a lot of golf. 3 over today, puts him in a tie. These are no-cut events, and he's only 8 shots off the lead, so, a lot can happen in the next 3 days. Pretty crowded field after one day at the FedEx St. Jude. But Gary Woodland right there sniffing around the lead. 1 shot back. We'll track G-Dub through the weekend in Memphis. All right, Spencer, a headline near and dear. I don't know dear is right, but near at least to your heart. Your boy Jaden Daniels. What's going on here?
So he played at LSU for a part of his college football career. And so did
won a Heisman Trophy, which I will admit I had forgotten before this whole controversy emerged last night. I totally forgot he won the Heisman.
But also, somebody else won the Heisman and a national championship all at LSU, and that guy is Joey Burrow, and his jersey's retired.
Well, his jersey is not retired. It has just not been
It's not in
issued.
circulation.
Nobody's given out the number 9 since Burrow's record-setting 2019 season. But
yes,
somebody gave out Jaden Daniels as number 5.
Yes, so an attorney representing Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels has informed LSU that it can no longer use his name, image, and likeness, according to an August 5th letter sent to Tigers athletic director Burge Alsbury, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN yesterday. At the center of the dispute, according to the statement from Daniels' spokesperson to ESPN, is the Tigers are allowing sophomore cornerback DJ Pickett to wear the number 5 jersey that Jaden wore when he became LSU's 3rd Heisman Trophy winner in 2023. While Daniels' jersey hasn't been retired by the Tigers, it's the first time a player has worn the number 5 since he left the program for the NFL. In a statement from the spokesperson, the Daniels family, his mother. Sorry. I had something in my throat there.
So, yeah, that's the kind of insight you're only getting from our DC Sports Insider here, that Jaden's mom's a bit of a helicopter.
Yes. If you see anything, if you saw the quarterbacks program on Netflix, if you saw that NIL docu thing that Amazon Prime put out a few years ago with LSU people, including Jaden, Paul Skeens, Livy Dunn, she was in both documentaries, docu-series, I guess would be the term to call them. And one of those, she even told women to stay out of the way of her son's life. So if you take that, I take that and push that to everything. She is everywhere with him. And it's
a big influence.
And it seems to be becoming a problem. So much so that she got mad that somebody wore his number. Whether he's mad or not, so be it. But he had to put out a statement on Instagram today that he is, quote, focused on training camp.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the statement, in fact. It was put out earlier this afternoon.
I can find it. It's on his Instagram.
It's on his Instagram. I've got it.
Okay.
I have been locked in on training camp, and that's been my number one focus. I have a lot of gratitude for my time at LSU, and I'm proud of what my teammates and I accomplished there. Obviously, there are issues to be worked out between my team and LSU, and my hope is it will get done privately. My sole personal focus is on Commanders football. I realize the business of football is unique, and I trust this all can be resolved.
See that word there? My sole personal?
I
Lucas?
do see that it is, part of me wonders, like, I almost feel a little bad that he's got to, if this is really his mom driving all this or his representatives driving all this. At the same time, like, hey, man, I won a Heisman Trophy, and another guy won a Heisman Trophy 4 years before me, and you're not giving his number out. Why are you giving my number out? I don't care what you promised some punk recruit who, granted, DJ Pickett's a pretty good player. Like, he was a freshman All-American last year. I don't care what you promised some punk recruit. Why are you treating me different than you treat Joe Burrow? We both won a Heisman Trophy. And the answer comes back, well, Burrow won the Natty, and you went 10-3. And that is a distinction with a difference. I don't think that's a distinction without a difference. But if you do it for 1 year, and then a new coach comes in and says, man, I don't care. Jane Daniels didn't do anything for me. I'm the new kid on the block, Lane Kiffin. I got a recruit who I got a kid who really wants to wear number 5. That might be the thing that keeps him on campus and playing for me. I'm going to give him number 5. I don't care. Jane Daniels, he's not going to bother him that bad. Well, it bothered somebody in the Daniels family, apparently. Yeah. Bothered somebody affiliated with Jane Daniels. But, like, I don't know. I think this is a little bit childish on really all accounts. But unless your number has been permanently retired, like, eventually they're going to give your number out. And you can argue that maybe it's too soon. Like, there are some instances where, like, and you've all watched a team, you trade a beloved player, and then you don't see that number for a while. You shouldn't. Like, I'm trying to remember, has there been a Royal wear number 4 since Alex Gordon? Like, that's the kind of thing, right, where you would say, I'm actually trying to find that out. I'm trying to get to the uniform history over at Baseball Reference. And, nobody's worn that number since Alex Gordon. It should be a while. Even if you're not going to retire Alex Gordon's number, debate for another day, I understand not wanting to give that out anytime real soon, right? Like, I get that. That's understandable. But if it's not on the wall, on the stadium wall or in the rafters, so to speak, somebody's going to wear your number again someday, especially in a sport where you got 85 players on a team and it's only 99 numbers. And I'm sorry, if you wore a single-digit number, somebody's going to wear it again. Well, sorry.
Plus, I think, I know it's allowed in college football, but with the way brands are, these, like, college NIL and branding and whatever, a lot of players don't want to be a double number.
Yeah.
Because they want to be known as the guy with the number.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think that's
like when they're a star guy. You don't want, a guy that you don't want, number 6 on the offense to be the, number 6 on the defense and both star players. Like, that's just one kind of similar thing to this that has to tie in the Commanders. A week ago, when the Commanders signed Stephon Diggs, he is currently wearing number 18. in practice, but the Commanders announced that will not be his number. He has yet to choose a number. He's just wearing a preseason number. He wants to wear number 7. While not officially retired.
Not officially retired.
It probably will be next year because the Josh Harrison company are picking up all of Dan Snyder's pieces.
Yeah, and they want to retire. They want to retire for Joe Theismann.
Yes. It was a thing in 2007, 6, whatever year they drafted the late Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace. He had to ask Joe Theismann for number 7.
And that's fine. Like, sure, Stephon Diggs can ask.
So Stephon Diggs posted on Instagram and said, I got y'all help me ask the GOAT number 7 for his number to be able to wear his number. And then he was on an interview and said, number's not retired. That's a team decision.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you have it. We'll take a break. Mitch Holthus is going to join us next for our training camp report here on 580 Sports Talk.
You want some violence? I'll show you some violence.
Catch every second of Chiefs football right here.
The war's coming.
580 WIBW and FM 104.9.
We are once again pleased to be joined on 580 Sports Talk by the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, joining us for yet another training camp report, the 9th in the installment of training camp reports this August. They are, of course, brought to you by Hy-Vee. The world's best tailgating begins at Hy-Vee, proud official sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs, and Azura Credit Union, where you can visit with the Azura Credit Union Home Loans team. Mitch, Prove It Week, Show Me Something Week, however you want to phrase it, continues today with Nohl Williams, the second-year cornerback out of Cal, who was in and out of the lineup last year as a rookie before getting a chance to start 4 of the team's last 5 games. What were the things that Williams had to develop and has to continue to develop as his role on the team grows this year and as they require him to step into a starting role with the changes in that secondary?
Well, we thought he had kind of done that, and we thought that really earlier in the season he could have been put in the outside corner position and then moved Trent McDuffie to the slot where McDuff is maybe the best in the league, and then have Jamari Conner go back to safety, but that didn't happen. So Nohl Williams only played 27% of the defensive snaps a year ago. He's a good special teams contributor. But as you alluded to, that was mostly later in the year, in the last month of the season. When the Chiefs lost Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson and Brian Cook and Joshua Williams and Najee Johnson to free agency, the outside world thought it was Mount Vesuvius and cracks would open in the earth and would be covered with molten lava. Not so much. In fact, I'm very encouraged about the secondary and what I've seen in the spring and summer, and it would carry over here to camp, and it has. And I'm really impressed with Nohl Williams. He's aggressive. He's tough. You're going to get some penalties, but you're also going to get the ball punched out because this team only had 14 takeaways last year and only 4 fumbles recovered, which was tied for last in the league, I think, or maybe only Washington had fewer. But I talked to Nohl. He knows now he's getting the opportunity. We all kind of thought he would get maybe a year ago, or at least in the middle of the year. But now he's getting it.
You know, I'm blessed to have this opportunity to compete every day with my brothers in my DB room. And, you know, like you said, the opportunity's right there. I got to keep stacking days, keep earning the trust for the people around me, my coaches, the players. And so far, you know, you just got to look at the film, you know, just after a day of practice, look at the film and then wash it onto the next practice. So I try not to look back at days, just look forward, be in the moment, and just take from there, learn from my mistakes. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still trying to get better.
Guys, he's played really good in this camp. He's been outstanding, actually. And, again, he's very aggressive, good footwork, physical. And if you study his collegiate career, he had some really good moments at Cal. This is going to be a preposterous statement, and some would say maybe you're hoping, wishing, but I think the secondary will be better this year than last year. I think much better in the fact that they will be more aggressive, interceptions, punch the ball out, knock down the 3rd and 8 slant, rip the ball out what looks like a catch, and have the other team punt or pick it or fumble recovery. So Nohl Williams is a big part of that. I want a Seahawks kind of secondary, and Nohl plays that way.
Big picture, to your point about the secondary, because kind of thinking it over, chewing on it on yesterday's show, the 53-man roster, the composition of that, and looking at the defensive back groups, there are going to be good football players who just don't have a spot on the 53. And there are a bunch of different kinds of players in that group, whether it's young players looking to make a name like Nohl Williams, whether it's veteran players trying to prove they've still got it like Cater Kohu or L'Jarius Sneed. It's UDFAs trying to make an impression. This is a group that seems to me to be, even relative to recent years where the Chiefs have done such an outstanding job developing and identifying young talent at the position, this seems to be about as deep a group as the Chiefs have had in camp. It's going to make for some tough decisions for Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, and Dave Merritt on the back end.
Well, you're scooping part of my tomorrow report, which is going to be a Rams preview and a checklist, which is traditional, as you know, in my reports on WWW before the first preseason game. But this is one big one, and you just alluded to it. Now, the Chiefs cut defensive back Bryce Phillips when they added Emmanuel Ogbah, added a defensive end, cut a DB. There's still 18 in this camp. And your point is accentuated when you look especially at slot corner, and which has become a vital position in the National Football League. We talk about a team's a 4-3 or a 3-4. Well, they're only in their base defense maybe 12% of the time. Most of the time they're a nickel or dime or some other combination thereof. So your nickel corner is almost as it is as important as your outside corners. That's why I said Trent McDuffie was the best at it. We win Super Bowl 58. We don't have a parade, and I don't have a ring. If he doesn't blitz off the slot and deflect Brock Purdy's throw, if that's a first down, they run out the clock and we're dead. We don't win in overtime. So the slot position is very important, but I'll get into it tomorrow. I'll get more into the weeds of this because it is a vital part of the Saturday Rams game to pay attention. I know fans got the back-to-school barbecue or, it's a preseason game. If you're into the Chiefs, you're going to want to pay attention to the defensive backfield because you just nailed it, but I'm going to get into more detail on this tomorrow and why it's really important Saturday afternoon.
Mitch Holthus joining us, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, for a training camp report here on 580 Sports Talk, brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. You spoke about this a little bit regarding Williams in particular. When he came out of Cal, two things really jumped out in his scouting report. Number one were the ball skills. He made plays on the ball. He made interceptions. fumbles forced, things like that in his college career. The other thing, the physicality with which he plays. Now, you can't be a Steve Spagnuolo corner without playing with physicality, but those ball skills, those plays on the ball, those have been a little absent in the Chiefs secondary the last couple of years. How can Williams bring those individually to a group that needs that infusion?
Well, and we've had physical corners that are tacklers. Our corners are not, they don't shy away from tackles. But I was really surprised at our lack of a physical nature in the passing game. We were letting guys we're backpedaling to 12 on a 3rd and 8. They catch it at 9, and then we kind of arm tackle them at 11. It happened all year long. And these are guys we won Super Bowls with. So to your point and to answer your question, what Nohl Williams brings now is some real juice in being physical in the passing game. He'll jack you in a run. He fits the mold of all those other guys we've had, and he'll be a run defender. You kind of heard that in his answer there. But where he will bring something that we've not had for a while, maybe since 2023, is the ability to rough a receiver at the line of scrimmage, play press, and then get a real strong jam on that receiver to reroute them. If they do run an inside route and he's still got that person, he's going to make a nasty play and knock it down. You're going to get some penalties from Nohl Williams, but you're going to get the ball ripped out too. If you're careless with the ball or not super careful on the other side of it, Nohl's going to get it out. And that aggression is badly needed for us, especially at the corner position. We've had it against the run. We need it against the pass.
It's a fine line to walk, of course, at that cornerback position. What might be a no call one week might be an illegal use of hands or an illegal contact or a pass interference the week after that. How much of that is part of the education of a young cornerback like Williams, knowing, to put it as simply as possible, what you can and can't get away with when trying to play physical on the edge?
Well, and because of the nature of the penalty in the National Football League as opposed to college. If I get beat in college, I can pretty much tackle the dude, and it's a 15-yard penalty first down. In the NFL, it's a spot foul. So if Cortland Sutton's on a go route on me, and it can be a 50 or 60-yard penalty. It's in all of professional sports, defensive pass interference in the NFL might be the equivalent of a red card right by the goal for a penalty kick in the World Cup or the English Premier League. So that's your answer. You've got to play corner, and you're the fighter pilot of the NFL. Our Kansas Coyote refuelers out there at the Kansas Air National Guard at Forbes will refuel fighter planes. But in that fighter plane is a fighter pilot, and the fighter pilots of the NFL are corners. So Nohl is built that way. He wants to be a fighter pilot. He knows he'll get beat, but he's going to win more than his share. And the wins he wins on could be dynamic plays. I love him. I wish we'd have played him more last year, to be honest. And I love it, the fact that he's at right corner right now, because he's bringing that same aggression to the practice field. Now, he'll play maybe a little bit on Saturday, and Dave Tobe still wants to use him on special teams. But that could get, if he's your lockdown right corner, you're not going to play him on teams a lot. But I think this is also, to your point, is the fact that becomes contagious. Now, all of a sudden, Mansoor Delane, the rookie 6th pick of the draft, is already built that way. But if he's got a guy that's already been in the league a bit, that he sees him as an aggressive fighter pilot, then he's like, all right, let's go. And then you get more of those guys, and you become the Seahawks secondary. It'll rip your flesh off, and get the ball. So I'm excited about Nohl. And fans are going to have to live with some mistakes, but they're going to love what they get on the ceiling of this guy.
Last question for you, Mitch, and you alluded to it a little bit there. The best secondaries are ones that play physical, play fast, play with a bit of a bounce, a bit of swagger to them. That 2023 secondary for the Chiefs absolutely did, and L'Jarius Sneed was at the heart of it. I don't think it's a coincidence that he's back in the fold this year for the Chiefs. And setting aside whatever his on-the-field role might be, how important has he been in an off-the-field capacity, particularly for the young guys like Williams who are learning how to play the position, learning how to ride that rail of physicality and a penalty, and do it with a little bit of that swagger that champions have?
I don't care what level of college football you play at. If you're playing in the Big 12, SEC, Big 10, ACC, there's such a huge difference at playing cornerback in the pros. First of all, you're playing elite athletes every snap for the most part. But two, I can get by in college if I'm a great athlete on sloppy technique. I cannot get by with that in the NFL. Does not work. And so L'Jarius, who I love, is not a rah-rah guy. He's not going to stand on the table and let's get fired up. That's kind of a Justin Reid role now with the Saints. But LJ is a technician, and he is kind of the hybrid guy. He's got safety skills, and he's also got corner skills. He's done both and played the slot. So his ability to technique the nuances of the position that is required, if you're going to be a really good corner in the NFL, you have got to be technique sound, or you just won't last. And so Nohl's is sound, but it's also continue to work, because the theme again this week is, he's got a chance to be a good player. No. Dude, you've got to do it this year. If you are the right corner and you're getting this chance, you must be a stud out there. We can't live with a whole bunch of mistakes or you being sloppy in technique. So that's where LJ's experience comes into play with those guys.
Mitch Holthus' training camp reports on 580 Sports Talk are brought to us by Hy-Vee. The world's best tailgating begins at Hy-Vee, proud official sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs. And by Azura Credit Union, where you can visit with the Azura Credit Union Home Loans team. Mitch, tomorrow's a checklist because Saturday, if you can believe it, is a game day.
Well, we're ready for the game. Let's just put it that way. I've been up here 21 days. But what we're going to dive into your D-backs more tomorrow and why it's close to watch. But I got two other groups for you that people aren't thinking about that Saturday's big for that could lead to a resurgence in this team. That comes up tomorrow.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks again, Mitch. We'll talk tomorrow.
Thanks, Dan.
That is Mitch Holthus. We'll take a timeout, come back. We got a Royals transaction, a little bit of breaking news coming up on 580 Sports Talk.
Talking sports in Topeka. This is 580 Sports Talk.
545 on 580 Sports Talk, coming down the home stretch of this Thursday, and some news from the Royals on an off day. They don't often announce transactions on an off day, but the Royals have announced within the last 15 minutes that the club has signed right-handed pitcher Tony Gonsolin to a major league contract for the remainder of 2026 with a club option for 2027. So he has been signed, added to the 40-man roster. The concurrent 40-man roster move, reliever Eli Morgan has been designated for assignment. Tony Gonsolin will not pitch for the Royals in 2026. They have signed him. They have added him to the 40-man. They have placed him on the 15-day injured list. Gonsolin is rehabbing a Tommy John internal brace surgery that he had in August of last year. Now, Gonsolin has spent his entire 6 years as a big leaguer with the Dodgers, and in 2022 had a breakout campaign that saw him go 16-1 with a 2.14 earned run average and make his first All-Star team. But in 2023, it was a rockier ride, 20 starts, an ERA near 5, and then the arm went. Tommy John surgery, number 1. Gonsolin missed all of 2024, came back last year, made 7 starts, had an ERA of 5, then the elbow went again. Had his second Tommy John surgery and internal brace procedure in August. So that was a year ago that he had that surgery. He will continue to rehab with the Royals. Again, very unlikely that he's going to see a mound at the end of this year. This is a John Means type of addition, a Kyle Wright type of addition, a guy you sign because you know they're not going to pitch for you 1 year, but you get an extra year with them to hope that they can pitch for you the year after that. And the Royals will hope that Gonsolin can rediscover some of that 2022 All-Star magic when he turns 32 next year. Another fun fact about Tony Gonsolin, he loves cats. He has 50 cat t-shirts and wears them every Catterday. Not all 50 t-shirts each day. I presume it's one per day.
Excuse me?
Tony Gonsolin, big cat guy. Big cat guy.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah. By all accounts, and not just the cat thing, by all accounts, a really good dude. And yeah, last healthy season, he was an all-star. But that was 2022. That was a long time ago. It'll be 5 years ago by the time he takes the mound for the Royals. If, indeed, they pick up his option. He could rehab and go into next year, and the Royals be like, yeah, not seeing it. Sorry. And cut bait. But that is the move that the Royals made today.
So they really just don't care about finishing out the year with a pitcher? Eli Morgan, your guy?
Well, I said earlier they clearly didn't like him. You could tell, 25 appearances at AAA with an ERA of 1.4 and never got called back up through the summer. Didn't pitch very well when he got his opportunity. You have to be honest about that part of it. But, no, they clearly didn't like him. Wasn't part of their plans. And, DFA'd him today for Tony Gonsolin. And from the 785, great. Now the Royals training staff is going to set back his rehab, too. Like they had with Garcia and Vinny and Estevez and Bubich and Reagans and all those guys. Speaking of being a general manager, do you think you could be a good general manager? If you were a diehard baseball fan, do you think you would be a good general manager? Do you think you could do a better job than J.J. Piccolo? I understand some of you feeling like that's a pretty low bar to clear. Do you think you'd be a good GM, Spencer? I don't.
I don't know. Probably not.
I don't, because I would be, as a fan, I would let that fan part of me let me be too sentimental. And I would do things like, Salvador Perez, you're a below replacement level player now. I'm still going to pay you $10 million in 2027 because you're the captain.
Yeah, and if I wasn't of my favorite team, I would try to bring my favorite players in.
So online,
not good players.
So Online Casinos Canada, casino.ca, surveyed 5,000 Major League Baseball fans across all 30 teams, presenting them with a series of front office scenarios covering trades, prospects, roster construction, rebuilding, and long-term strategy. First, they asked the participants, do you think you would be good at the job? And then have them take the test. Well, 75% of Royals fans responding said they believed they would make a good general manager. That was the highest percentage among all fan bases, tied with Nationals fans. 75% of Royals fans thought they would be a good general manager. And then through the scenarios, there was a score given out of 100. Royals fans got a 67 out of 100, which was 30th out of 30 fan bases. So despite thinking they'd be the best at it, they were in fact the worst. I don't know that there's actually a lesson there. Just, I don't know which Canadian Royals fans Online Casinos Canada is talking to. But clearly, they need to talk to some of y'all. Because I know our listeners who know the Royals know ball. But it's just like they had one of the lowest scores in the baseball IQ test that we did about a month ago. But yes, Royals fans had the worst score, 67 out of 100, ranked by their general manager skills. The fan base who had the best score, with a score of 97 out of 100, Nationals fans. So Nationals fans thought they'd be good, and they were right. The Royals fans thought they would be good, and they were wrong. For whatever it's worth, not much. Rockies fans were 7.
I will say,
out of 30.
I will say, a lot of Washington Nationals fans, this is going to sound crazy, are like DC transplants.
Oh, sure.
Because they go after the game with their job. A lot of businesses in DC have season tickets, and a lot of the true fans of baseball in the DC area, they're Orioles fans.
Sure. No, I understand
because of the timing of the team coming there, and then not having a team, and then people growing up with the Senators, and then
sure.
Yeah.
So this is what I thought was interesting. Actually, kind of thought was interesting here. So there was the GM score, like the quality of your decisions, the score out of 100. But then they also measured a ruthlessness index. Which fans were most willing to make tough, unpopular moves in pursuit of success? And each fan base was given a ruthlessness score out of 100. Royals fans came in third with a score of 95 out of 100 on the ruthlessness scale, behind only Angels fans and A's fans. So you have the Angels, the A's, the Royals, and then you had Pirates fans, Mariners fans, and Reds fans in the top 6. What all those fan bases have in common? Probably a little bit of anger at their current general manager and their current situation. Slash ownership, yes, in the case of the Pirates and the Angels for sure, and the A's. But, yeah, fan bases who have watched their teams like be bad for extended periods of time, a little less sentimental, a little more ruthless. That tracks. It's also kind of funny that Nationals fans were 30th out of 30 on the ruthlessness index. You guys are too sentimental. You let Harper walk, you let Soto go, you miss those guys.
Yeah.
A little bit. But
and then we throw all the money at a guy's arm that was going to break.
Shout out to not Tyler Corbin, Rocky great Tyler Corbin, Patrick Corbin.
I was referring to Steven Strasburg.
Oh, well, they gave They gave Patrick Corbin a lot of money too.
Yes, before the 19th season, he helped win a World Series. The debt of gratitude is there. I just wish they could have gotten out of that contract.
Understand. We'll take one final break. We'll come back. We'll put a wrap on this edition of 580 Sports Talk with the final word. Final word time on this Thursday on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, what you got?
Yeah, final word for me. I'm all with Chris Jones. Play the ones against the ones. If not, then don't play starters at all. I think teams in preseason need to get on the same page of what they're doing and what they plan to do with their players, because these two teams specifically, they are not doing anything they're going to do in the regular season because they play each other in the regular season. So why can't we just evaluate 1 versus 1s, 2 versus 2s? And in this game, Patrick Mahomes not going to play? All right, so the whole starting offenses and the whole starting defense for the other team, how about they don't play? Maybe starters, I think that's how you fix preseason football.
Final word for me is it is becoming abundantly clear that the Kansas City Royals would like to find some starting pitching that they don't have to pay a lot of money for next year. The signing of Tony Gonsolin today confirms that. The rostering of John Means, or at least the signing of John Means, even though he hasn't been on the 40-man this year, but another guy rehabbing this season with the hope he can get on the mound next year. They tried this with Kyle Wright, a former 20-game winner. It didn't work. It's a team that's desperate for solutions. And look, on the one hand, I appreciate that they're willing to overturn every rock to look for a solution. But at the end of the day, you might also just have to pay the freight. Go get a proven starting pitcher rather than one who was last good 5 years ago. Be great if Tony Gonsolin recaptured his all-star form of 2022, but after 2 Tommy Johns, is that a bet you really want to make? That'll do it for us. No baseball tonight. Royals are back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow to preview the Chiefs preseason opener from 3 until 6. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports.